So for me, it seems immediately apparent that we are nearing the end. In fact, this may very well be the last year of the previous generation of heavyweights, the generation that included the likes of Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, Alexander Usyk, those types. Now it's more the case of the Daniel Dubois of the world, the Moses Thomas, Joseph Parker. I'd lump him in with them as well. He's still young enough to do something in this. He's doing something now, as we've already seen. So it's really starting to take full circle, this new crop of heavyweights. And, as I said, the old guard is basically what they are now. The likes of Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury is apparently retired. Let's see how he goes with that. But Tyson Fury is retired. Alexander Usyk has already said 2 more fights and that's it. And the last fight is a bit of a gimmicky fight. So essentially his next fight, which will likely be against Daniel Dubois, that's really on the surface level, that's it from a competitive fight. And anyway, so we're seeing the end of them, and we're hearing what's happening with Alexander Usyk. He's probably going to fight Daniel Dubois, Joseph Parker. We don't really know fully, but he's likely going to be made full champion, so he'll be champion again. He'll defend it against possibly Anthony Joshua. Possibly Joshua could be facing Fury, because not many of us believe he's really going to be fully retired. And with Joshua being out until probably September, that's a kind of realistic time where you could do the fight, maybe even do it coming up to Christmas thereabouts, and maybe have one more fight next year, and that's it. That then leaves one person that we really don't know where we stand with him, and that is now Deontay Wilder. At the start of the year, there was a lot of questions about what Deontay Wilder would do. Really, if you want to go back to last year, when he fought Zhilei Zhang, and he got stopped quite devastatingly. For me, I was like, well, God, I mean, that's it. Please, for the love of God, just leave it. That's it. That's done. You ain't fixing that. He is going on 40 this year as well. He's since it was announced that he'd be returning against Curtis Harper, and that was going to be on BLK Prime, which again it's a bit of an obscure streaming platform. They did Crawford versus David Onision a couple of years ago, but they've not done anything in boxing. They were meant to make an announcement of that fight back in early January, never happened. And then we heard that fight was apparently gone off the table. We've heard people like Sullivan with the WBC say they'd be willing to let Deontay Wilder fight Adrian Kabayel for the interim title, but he's also said he'd be willing to let Tyson Fury, he'd be willing to let Anthony Joshua do it. So with Deontay Wilder now, it's a real case of, where have you gone now? Because it was all kind of, the talk was anyway, it's going to be Wilder versus Curtis Harper. Whilst that's a horrible fight, in the sense of Curtis Harper is a journeyman, Deontay Wilder is well and truly past his best. Not in terms of him being physically diminished necessarily, because he doesn't look that bad in terms of him being physically diminished. It's just, Wilder was always a limited heavyweight. We knew that. He was never going to win Boxer of the Year in terms of out and out skill. If you had a young amateur and you said, right, well, who do you want him to have a look at? You want him to have a look at Usyk's footwork. You'd want him to have a look at some of Joshua's straight shots and counters. You'd want him to, like Fury, how dynamic at one stage he was with his feet and everything. You'd never say look at Deontay Wilder for technique. You'd never do that. You just wouldn't, because he just wasn't built like that. And when you take it, all he had was that brute force, that punching power, which was amazing, incredible punching power. And he also had that will to win, that hunger, that desire, that burning desire to win, that will to win. If he smelt blood, he was on you like a bad smell. He just would not let you go until he got the knockout. He was always even against Tyson Fury, the first fight, 12th round, boom, the right hand goes in, and a lot of us thought it was over at that point. I remember very well, I watched it live. It was incredible that Tyson Fury got up. But when you take that all away, well, then you're left with a fighter who he still has punching power, but he now doesn't know how to use it. He's unwilling to let the big shots go. And then you go and you rely on his basic ability, which is just that word, basic. It's very, very basic. His footwork is non-existent. He's got no real, hooks or anything like that. His jab's alright, but it's nothing special. And that's it. His physical strength is non-existent. He's not the physically strongest heavyweight in the world, far from it. So you've really got a very, very poor fighter in front of you. Combine that with the fact that he has suffered, 3 now, devastating knockout defeats. He's taken some beatings. He's pushing 40. He'll be 40 come October. So what is there? For some bizarre reason, and it really is bizarre, Wilder has stunk the joint out against Joseph Parker, And then he got knocked out badly against Zhilei Zhang. And Turki Al-Sheikh is still mentioning his name. He still sees something. I mean, I'd love to know what glasses he's wearing because I ain't seeing anything. He really is seeing something still, Deontay Wilder. So I think for Wilder, and this is the thing I say about Deontay Wilder, right? Wilder throughout the course of his career has always thought of himself as, being in control, as in being in control of his own career and what he does. BS. Deontay Wilder, Shelley Finkel, and now you add in Malik Scott. All they care about is getting, literally squeezing what little money they can still get out of Deontay Wilder at this point, and Wilder isn't smart enough to realise that. I mean, at the end of the day, he turned down $100 million from DAZN to face Joshua in a 2-fight deal. You can't make this you-know-what up. And now his team are like, well, we can still make money out of him, we still get a couple of mil here and there, especially people like that JD's. He's not going to get it anywhere else, so we will keep going until there ain't nothing left to squeeze out of this guy. And that's the way it is. I think that the people in Wilder's team, if they had any care for him, which there was only ever one person who did, and that was, of course, Mark Breland. What good did that do to Mark Breland in the long run? Not much. They will be saying, call it a day. And I think now it's literally, he's in the wilderness. He's in the wilderness. I mean, like, it's not even the fact that people don't want to fight him because, he's potentially dangerous. It's just that he never was a big name. He's no name value anymore. He hasn't won a fight of any significance in years. He's only got one win since 2019. That was against Helenius. What benefit? Like, could you imagine a Moses Atelma fighting Deontay Wilder? I would look at that and I'd say, well, it's a name, but what benefit is it going to give you beating Deontay Wilder at this point in his respective careers? It's not going to do anything. It's not. If you beat Wilder to 2017, 2018, 2019 Wilder, I'd be saying, gee, goddamn. That's risky, very risky. Now it's just like, all right. But I'd be saying the same. I wouldn't be saying it as much with Anthony Joshua, but I would be kind of like, all right, you fought Joshua, fair enough. I can see how that could help you. It could do things. Wilder, no. And I think now that the Curtis Harper fight, bizarrely, shockingly, BLK couldn't put the money up. Whoever would have thought that? That's just, it's the shock of the year so far, isn't it? But yeah, now that that's gone, I mean, Turkey is still mentioning him, but look, for all intents and purposes, Deontay Wilder, there is a fork, stick it in you, you're done. That's what I think should be happening. So the fact that Deontay Wilder's kind of gone off the radar now, it's not a bad thing. I think in the nicest way, I think he needs to stay off the radar. Because at the end of the day, boxing, look at Derek Chisora. Derek Chisora is stuck around way past the sell-by date. And although he's doing all right now, he's in a bit of an Indian summer to his career, he doesn't sound the best. And, you can only get away with that for so long. And I loved watching Deontay Wilder, the fighter, when he was in his prime. And I like to have those memories. I don't want to see a fighter who's just staying on because he believes, because his team have gassed him, because he's not the brightest, into thinking he still has something to offer the game. He doesn't. He really doesn't. I mean, Wilder against anybody is just kind of, for me at this stage, like, Jesus. I would much rather see, a Moses Atelma in there against, a top 10 contender. I would much rather see Joseph Parker face Daniel Dubois. I'd much rather see an in-shape, in-form Martin Bakole against Alexander Usyk, more so than I'd rather see, Deontay Wilder versus Anthony Joshua, or Deontay Wilder versus pretty much anyone at this stage. So for me, I'm thinking enough is enough. We're not hearing from him now, and please, can we keep it that way? I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean it in a please for your own safety. We don't need Deontay Wilder anymore in the heavyweight division at this stage, I don't think. I could be wrong. Let me know what you think. Are there people out there who really do believe that he still has something at this minute in time to still offer the heavyweight division? I'd be impressed to hear if you did. But let me know in the comment section. Hope you enjoyed it, people. Smash the like button if you could. As always, hit subscribe if you haven't already. We are getting nearer, lads. We're getting nearer to 23. We're getting nearer it. So let's get there, and then let's get to 24, 25, and so on and so forth. Until next time, peace.